What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. So we're going to be talking about a very interesting subject here. Now, I know I've talked about cheap guns before, but never have I spoken about the cheapest guns I've ever shot and whether or not I would trust them with self-defense. Believe it or not, one of the answers on these might actually surprise you a bit. But let's get right into it. So, for starters, the Yeet Cannon, the High Point. Nobody likes High Point, guys. Why? Because they are just a dumpster fire of a gun. Uh, you can't get through a whole mag pretty much without any malfunctions. Let me see here. There's just so many things wrong with it. Low capacity. It is insanely ugly. It is built like a block. It's literally built. I'm gonna put it like this: the High Point is legitimately built like how your 4-year-old self would draw a gun. That's my thought process on it. But moving on from that, it has a terrible trigger. There's nothing that's good about the High Point. You can find it for cheaper than $200. Now, I understand some people are not going to like my thoughts on this, but hey, so be it. I'm not here to please everybody. I'm here to just be informative and make my videos. But let's move on to number 2, because number 1 already is bad enough, guys. The High Point, any High Point handgun, in my opinion, is already bad enough. Moving on, though, from High Point to the SCCY or the Sky, I believe it's the CPX2, whatever goofy model number name they gave it. I don't know. That it's all I can tell you guys about it is they are painfully inaccurate. The trigger pull is just disgusting. When I say disgusting, I mean it is probably the longest trigger pull I have ever felt. Now, I won't say the heaviest because I have felt some pretty heavy double action triggers. However, I will say it is a pretty heavy trigger as well. And I get it, it's double action only. I get it's supposed to have a heavier trigger. I get it, guys. However, my goodness, is that thing just absolutely awful. The reliability is pretty much I can't even say that there is any. I mean, the reliability and the SCCY firearms just are not compatible, guys. I don't know how else to say it other than to say it like that. Now, keep in mind, guys, the SCCY handguns, they are so bad that SCCY is out of business. They're literally out of business. They are no longer a company. That's how terrible the firearms are. And I get it. There are some companies who made really good firearms, like, for example, the Kalashnikov USA. I get it. Some brands made some phenomenal guns and still had to, close up shop and are no longer considered a brand of firearm or no longer sell anymore. But also, I think we can say we all know the reason why the SCCY shut down. I think we can all agree that we know the reason why, and it's because their firearms were absolute trash. But moving on from the SCCY2, or SCCY2, the SCCY CPX2, whatever goofy model name it is, onto the final one. Now, I don't know if you guys could tell, but very obviously, I would not trust the High Point for self-defense. Very obviously, I would not trust the SCCY for self-defense. Why? Reliability in both of them is non-existent. Terrible triggers, terrible almost everything, terrible shooting, and overall just terrible guns in my opinion. Now, I get it. It is better than a stick. Don't get me wrong. But also, if you respected yourself enough to save up like another $50, $100, which really isn't that hard to do, then you would have just gotten yourself a better firearm. You at least would have gotten this gun I'm about to mention next, which is the Taurus G2C. Now, keep in mind, guys, I own a Taurus G2C. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, well, it's the absolute worst gun on the market. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and act like it's the best either. But here's what I will say. My Taurus G2C, at least, has been extremely reliable. I've seen very few of them that have issues. And I will also say that yes, I would rather trust a Taurus G2C for self-defense than I would the High Point or any of the SCCY handguns. Like, without a doubt. As a matter of fact, I used to carry a Taurus G2C for a good long while. And guess what, guys? Had zero issues, no problems. I mean, granted, also, there was never a situation where I needed to use it, thank God. However, I can also say, though, that I did take my EDC to the range. I still do take my EDCs to the range. It's just now my EDC is not the Taurus G2C. You see what I mean? So that gun is pretty much retired as far as I'm concerned. But if I ever had to pick that gun back up and say, well, crap, this is now my carry gun again, sure. I mean, I did it before. It was extremely reliable then. There's not an issue of reliability now. I can truly say, though, that if you just respected yourself enough to save up a little bit of money and get yourself at least something like a Taurus G2C, that, and again, you guys can find them brand new for like 200 bucks. You can find them brand new for like 200 bucks. The SCCYs you're going to find for less than 200. The High Points you can find for less than 200. Don't cheat yourself out of getting something that at least has some level of reliability. But with that being said, I do think that about wraps it up for this video. I hope this gives you guys some information in regards to cheap firearms. And again, I'm not saying all of them are bad. I'm not saying they're all absolute garbage. However, the majority of them are. You have a much higher chance of running into a trash firearm when it is extremely cheap than you would a good firearm. That's just how it works. But at least you guys do have an option of a semi-good, pretty cheap firearm that you can use at least until you get yourself a better one. But with that being said, y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all in. Whether or not you agree with me about my thoughts on these three guns that I have talked about in this video, whether or not you agree with me about their reliability, whether or not you agree with me about any of the features of them that I said I disliked, whether or not you agree with me about even the reliability of the Taurus G2C, where I said I would trust it. Go ahead and comment your thoughts down below. Make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.